In April, a gunman opened fire at a FedEx facility on the city's southwest side, killing 8 people. After learning 19-year-old Brandon Hull had a gun confiscated about a year before, Indy Star then began investigating. Bigger here. When are our red flag laws used? When are they not? Their investigative team found 14 deaths the red flag law failed to prevent in Indy in the past 5 years. And joining me this morning to talk more about its investigation and series Red Flagged is one of those really award-winning journalists, Tony Cook. So good to see you. You guys do such fantastic work. I want to start with, as my watch is going off. You found, in part, that Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears and his deputies chose not to file more than 100 red flag cases that legal experts, including the judge who oversees these cases, said they were required to file. That is one thing you all found. Talk about the work that went into finding those cases and the work you did.
Yeah, so it was a lot of time at the clerk's office going through court records to examine all of these and figure out ultimately how each one was handled. And as you said, we found that, there were about 107 cases where, the case just wasn't filed. So they seized a gun, but prosecutors decided not to follow up with a court filing. And so as a result, a judge never had an opportunity to find those people dangerous and suspend their gun rights. So those folks could still access and legally purchase guns, even though police had seized a weapon from them.
The prosecutor didn't want to talk to you all for part of this investigation, but you all did find that things had changed after Brandon Hull committed the crime that he did. What did you guys find on a positive note that even though they might not want to say that, hey, these things we should have done, they are doing things differently? What are some of those things? Yeah,
so after the FedEx shootings sort of shined a spotlight on this one case where the law wasn't used, the judge who oversees these cases, Amy Jones, it basically started requiring police to file affidavits directly with the court. So they kind of cut the prosecutor's office out of the beginning stage of the red flag process. And so now those are filed directly with the judge. So almost every case is being filed now. And so a judge is reviewing those and is able to have an opportunity to decide whether someone is dangerous or not.
Is she finding some are dangerous, and in some of these cases now, are guns being taken away from people, and are they being flagged, per se?
Right. So roughly 2 years prior to the FedEx shooting, not a single person was found dangerous by the judge.
That's key.
Yeah.
I don't want people to not hear that. Say that again.
So in the roughly 2 years prior to the FedEx shooting, not a single person was found dangerous in Marion County under the red flag law. And that's primarily because the cases weren't being filed. Sometimes there were settlements, but mostly it was because they weren't being filed. So what they're doing now that the police are filing directly with the judge is having an opportunity to review all of those, and they're having hearings, which is something else that wasn't happening before. The hearings were being delayed, continued for months, sometimes even years. Now they're really getting around to those within a few weeks, and now we found in the first 5 months after the FedEx shooting, I think 36 people at least were found dangerous. So it was a big turnaround.
None to 36. So that is something positive out of a tragedy. I thought one thing that really stood out to me, it was part of the title of this, quoting one of the family members involved here, where it said, "Indiana is an accessory to murder." Tell me about the person that said that and how you wrote about that.
Right, so that was something that Angela Hewley, who is a survivor of the FedEx shooting, she was injured in the FedEx shooting, told us when we spoke with her at her home. And it's the way a lot of the victims that we spoke with or their family members feel. They don't understand why the law hasn't been used. And not just in the FedEx case, in other cases as well where there's been tragedies. And so, they're upset about that. They don't understand that. And part of this also, in the sense of bringing Indiana as a whole into it rather than just Marion County, is that the state lawmakers, have sort of left this gap in the law where people can still legally purchase guns while the red flag case is pending. So whether that's months, as it previously was, now it's more like weeks, there's this gap where they can still purchase guns even though police have seized a gun from them because they believe they're dangerous.
I wish we had more time, but this goes quickly. Thank you again for your, just outstanding work once again.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.